The lack of strategy is the most common thing that I see in the small business space, like not having a strategic strategy in place. And then the next one is execution. So maybe they've spent time on strategy, but they get stuck on how to go from strategy to execution. And then the third one, shiny object syndrome. Like maybe they've put the work in and they've created the strategy, but then they're like, ooh, but our competitors are doing this. And so we should be
Hmm.
doing this, even though you've just put the work in to create the strategy. And so that's a constant um, challenge or thing that we focus on with our clients when we're serving them. It's we create the strategy, we oversee the execution, but we also hold them accountable to the plan, and we don't let them go off on tangents because it's like, no, you invested in this work. We've done all of this research. Just because you heard you should be on TikTok, that
Yeah,
might not be the case.
yeah, might not. Um, and even as you talk about the disconnected execution or people showing up in different ways, in the presentation you did with us, we talked about, and we all know this, the consumer is a squiggly line, like it's not a linear, and
Yeah.
the reality is that trust is the new funnel, right?
Yep.
As you say, and if it's disjointed and you're not in their heads, there's no way they're going to buy from you because it's like the amount of noise from, when I was talking about a friend of mine, Joshua, he's in Austin, where Joshua Lee, we're talking about like BlackBerry and phones and whatever. I have BlackBerry disease because you're so important when you got a BlackBerry. This was like 15, 20 years ago when I had my first one. But um, this whole concept of like trust, like the journey and the distraction today are tenfold what they were just a handful of years ago. So can you talk about or your experience where trust has been broken, or just talk a little bit about that? Because I think building trust in today's world I think it's a differentiator at the end of the day, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
Yeah, I agree, which it shouldn't be. I wish there were more people building trust out there, but it
Yeah.
honestly is. I agree. I actually posted on LinkedIn a few weeks ago, and it really resonated with a lot of people. I've experienced so many times recently where I've like paid for a product or a service, and then like lack of communication is what I was met with, and I had no idea what was going to be delivered next and why and when, and I always had to reach out and check on things. Like, so trust to me, there's a bunch of different areas, but it goes throughout the whole entire customer journey. And so on the front end, building trust for know, like, and trust, it's, putting thought leadership type of content out there. It's being authentic. It's showing a brand, but also the human side of things. It's connecting with your audience. It's
Yeah.
being thoughtful and nurturing throughout all of those stages. But then when you move someone into try and buy, that's when they're entering like the sales side of things. It's then, being saying the same thing as your marketing messaging was saying. And so having a consistent experience throughout. And so people always say with duct tape marketing, like they see us as authentic and practical, like through our marketing and our content that we put out there. And then they have a sales call with me or someone on our team, and they get that same authentic, practical vibe. And so they're experiencing the same thing. And that builds a lot of trust because if we were saying that and then I'm like rude and full of myself on a call and not authentic,
Mhm.
and it would just be a mismatch. And so it's that brand alignment throughout the whole entire experience. But then unfortunately, where many people forget about trust is actually once someone becomes a client. And then, so the
Yeah.
last half of the hourglass, so buy and repeat and refer. And so oftentimes people are like, oh, I got their money. We're good. Trust was built, secure. But I think that's a missed mark because where your business can really grow consistently is when you're getting more repeat clients and when you're getting referrals from those clients as well. And so to me, like the trust needs to be absolutely continued to be built upon once someone becomes a client. And so for us, when we're working directly with small businesses as a fractional CMO, like we are communicating with them effectively. We're being completely transparent in our results. We're educating them along the way. We show that we care. Like we lean into all of that stuff because that's a lot of what we talk about again in our marketing and sales. And so we're living
Yeah.
that in our service as well. And so that's really when I talk about trust as the new funnel, it's building that trust from a marketing, sales, and customer service perspective, and making sure the experience is streamlined throughout the whole entire engagement with you.
At Clorox, we had a different approach just way back, but I agree with you because everything has to go back to the frame I use was like, are you making your brand promise or the trust like a true at every single touch point? from
Yeah.
your ad, from everything.
Yeah.
And I think it was, I learned this when I was at Clorox. I think it was the Coca-Cola and PG model. I don't remember, but it kind of talked a little bit, mirrors a little bit of your hourglass, but desire, decide, and delight. So the concept of
Hmm.
desire is marketing. Like, what are you doing to
Yeah.
create desire? Then the concept of decide is at the moment of truth, which in the P&G language is at the shelf, which is that physical
Yeah.
product, but whatever that might be, whether it's on a landing page. And then I agree with what you just said wholeheartedly, and I want to reinforce it. There's in the back half of the hourglass or the delight.
The
People
light.
for
Yeah.
people forget to your best fans are the ones that are your NPS. Like we found huge success by focusing on NPS. So for the audience who doesn't know what NPS is, it's the percentage of promoters that you have. So you segment your audience in promoters, neutral, and detractors. So if they give
Yeah.
you a score of 1 to 10, the question you ask, would you recommend us to your friends and family? Right, which is the number one barometer tied to economic profit. We won't get into why it's such a great question to ask, but the percentage of people that score 9 and 10 minus the percentage of people that score 6 or below, because the people that are 7 and 8, they're sort of like, yeah, you know, David and Sarah, they're good, but they're fine. Like they're okay. Versus, oh my God, like these two are amazing. You got to talk to a
Yeah.
promoter. Or 6 is, no, they don't know what they're talking about. They just graduated from school. They know nothing about business kind of thing, right? So they'll score us the 5. And so the importance of the bottom half of the hourglass to build that trust, I think that is somewhere. And Alex Ramogi talks about this too a little bit. Like make the product or service so freaking good that people will talk about you without you having to do anything about it. And don't stop until it's that good and never give up that passion. And I love how you frame it as the trust is the new funnel because
Yeah.
it's based on human psychology, right?
Yeah, yeah, and I agree exactly with what you just shared there from Alex. It's because I say the same thing. Is like as long as you take like think about when you talk about referrals like to people you know, like if you recommend different products or services, it's because you had a great experience or something worth talking about versus because someone asked you. Like you
Mhm.
might do it because someone asked you, but you're doing it because like if the company asked you to refer them, you're doing it because you had a good experience and now they're
Yeah.
asking for it and you want to help them out. But most of the time, referrals are going to happen because someone's at a networking event and they might say, I've really been watching your marketing. It seems like you're in a good place. Like, who's helping you out? And the person might be, oh, whoever Duct Tape Marketing is who I've been working with, and they've taken us from here to here and here, and blah, blah, blah. And they'll be willing to talk about it because we took care of them throughout the whole entire customer journey. So that's really where, like, when people talk about referral strategy and plan, it's like, you need to tighten up your customer journey to be able to ask people for referrals and for them to actually want
Yeah.
to do it at that point. And so I think it's a good point. And also with referrals, because I keep talking about the hourglass, it's a huge benefit by getting referrals because if you're thinking about the hourglass, when someone's referred to you, they can move through know, like, trust, try, buy a lot quicker
Yeah.
than if they're coming from a paid ad and they've never seen or heard of your company before. And so it adds so much trust into them moving through your whole cycle when they're coming from someone that they trust.